KOW, coming to you live in HD. This is 27 News at 10. We've got you covered.
It looked a little like February all over again at the state capitol, but on a smaller scale. Police drag away protesters who won't leave the rotunda. Good evening, I'm Greg Newman.
And I'm Sabrina Hall. Greg has the night off tonight. Capitol Police say they arrested 13 people refusing to leave the state capitol after hours.
The police chief says they haven't had to make many arrests at that one time since some of the budget hearings a few months back. Lizzie Mitri was inside during the arrests. He joins us live from downtown.
Greg and Sabrina, police arrested 12 adults and 1 minor tonight. They'll face charges of unlawful assembly. Some will also face charges of resisting arrest and obstructing justice.
I gotta say, power to the people, man. Rise up, it's time.
One by one, Capitol Police and state troopers dragged people out of the building. They sat in a circle in the middle of the Capitol, holding onto a flag and holding on to each other. Capitol Police spent about an hour waiting and asking people to leave.
We tried to be as lenient as we could be without allowing ourselves to put the Capitol or citizens in a compromising position.
Chief Charles Tubbs says protesters asked at about 5:45 if they could end their rally walking through the Capitol building. They assured him they'd be out when it closed at 6 o'clock, and most people were. Now, this rally started because today is the first day state workers got their pay cuts after Governor Walker's budget repair bill.
The fact of the matter is that the wealthiest 1% of Wisconsinites actually pay less in state income tax than the bottom 50 put together. And we've come together today to say that that's bollocks and it's enough.
Union workers marched from Library Mall to the Capitol today. Many were wearing black to symbolize a day of mourning. Now, of those arrested, Tubbs wasn't sure how many would be released or kept overnight at the county jail. He says he is familiar with many of these people in the group, and many of them said this was not their first time being arrested at one of these protests.
All right, Lizzie Mitri at the Capitol tonight. And as Lizzie alluded to, reality set in today for state workers as they finally saw new deductions in their paychecks.
Yeah, they're now contributing just under 6% of their salaries toward their pensions and more than 12.5% to pay for their health insurance. State employees we talked to today say it may now be difficult just to make ends meet.
It's painful. I've had 248 taken out of this paycheck. That's a real slap. It's going to be hard for me to pay my bills, and it's going to cut down on the amount of money I can spend within the city of Madison.
Workers told us they'll have to find ways to cut back on spending. Some state employees at the rallies today say they're determined to overturn these changes.
Neither of the Wisconsin Supreme Court justices involved in a June altercation will face criminal charges. Justice Ann Walsh Bradley accused Justice David Prosser of putting her in a chokehold during an argument on June 13th, but sources close to Prosser insisted it was Walsh Bradley who was the aggressor and that Prosser was merely defending himself. Special Prosecutor Patricia Barrett says nothing that happened during the incident was criminal in nature.
From your review, what do you believe occurred?
I'm not going to comment on what my opinion is of what occurred in that room.
Barrett is the district attorney for Sauk County and says she relied on more than 100 pages of reports and transcripts from Dane County Sheriff's investigators and a 2-hour recorded interview with Prosser. State officials suspect maltreatment played a role in the death of a Verona infant.
The 2-month-old boy died yesterday. The State Department of Children and Families say the boy suffered severe injuries, and one of the parents' stories just doesn't add up. Derek Stahl has more on the investigation from Verona.
State officials say the mother's explanation of what happened in the home behind me just isn't consistent with the injuries to the boy's head and body, and the news had police ratcheting up their investigation. Verona police carried out several brown bags with evidence tags this afternoon, beginning the early stages of building a case. The Department of Children and Families says every bone in the infant's skull was fractured and the baby's abdomen had massive bruising. The mother told authorities she tripped and fell on the boy, but state officials say his injuries were too severe. The parents aren't being identified. Police went door to door interviewing neighbors nearby.
Nobody really knows what happened, and right now a family is mourning a complete loss of
just a little infant, and people are just putting such a negative image out there right now, and that's not what needs to happen.
Heidi Hellenbrand says she went to school with the boy's father, and both parents always seemed loving and caring.
I've seen them in their yard with their kids running around playing, and everything seems to be very normal, quiet, respectful people.
She says the couple was excited about the boy's arrival and decorated their house with balloons after his birth. Now some of those memories are being carried out in bags. Police say an autopsy was performed on the infant today, but they're still waiting to hear from the medical examiner's office. Until that happens, they say no charges will be filed. In Verona, Derek Stahl, 27 News.
And 27 News was first to report that the owner of the house searched by police was scheduled to make a plea today in court in connection with a third offense OWI charge. Online records show that hearing was delayed because of a family tragedy. Neighbors identify the owners as the boy's father, but police are not releasing the parents' identities.
Tonight, President Barack Obama declared a state of emergency for North Carolina, which is expected to be hit by Hurricane Irene on Saturday. The declaration frees up federal funding for state and local aid to the storm. Mandatory evacuations are in effect for some parts of North Carolina as Irene gets closer. North Carolina Governor Beverly Perdue says she's been in the state for years, but this is the first time she's seen anything like Irene.
I hope people heed the warnings. I know it's really hard for folks who have small businesses to leave, but everybody should take this very seriously.
Meantime, officials in Florida say big waves have led to several rescues there, and at least 8 people were hurt when a wave actually knocked them over. Irene is expected to make landfall this weekend. Governor Scott Walker saw firsthand today the damage left by the tornado that swept through Clark County.
The governor visited Chile, which was hit by an EF2 tornado on Tuesday. He met with families whose homes were damaged or destroyed. Walker says it's a classic example of Wisconsin, with neighbors and volunteers pitching in to help in the cleanup process. Officials say most of the damage will be covered by insurance.
Federal health officials say there is no bat problem at the Dane County Regional Airport. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention opened an investigation after a bat got onto a flight from Madison to Atlanta earlier this month. The CDC said airport workers also reported seeing dead bats and colonies of bats on the grounds. A CDC spokeswoman says it found no evidence to back up either claim. The airport maintained all along there was no infestation.
New at 10, now local biotech firm is helping the Dane County job market. The number of jobs it plans to add after expanding.
Plus, the Packers season ticket waiting list could get a little shorter. The addition that will add new seats at Lambeau Field.
Your 27 Storm Track forecast in HD with meteorologist Bob Lindmeyer.
I think from late August to late September might very well be my favorite time of year. We still have warm days, but we start to get those cooler nights too. That was the case today. Forecast worked out. My 4-degree guarantee was 3 degrees off. It was a little bit warmer than I thought. We topped off at 82 degrees. I forecast a high of 79. Tomorrow, right around 81 degrees for a high. The normal high, 79. So we won't vary too far away from that. Here's the temperature trend today. We indeed started off on the cool side in the morning. 62 degrees at 6 a.m. in Madison, 81 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and even 6 o'clock. But look at how the temperature dropped off quickly this evening as the sun set. And across southern Wisconsin, that same temperature range. Not much of a variation across our viewing area, with highs in the low 80s in most locations. And now temperatures have indeed dropped off. Mineral Point still holding at 70, Monroe at 73, but there's Madison at 63. Most locations are now in the 60s. Quiet, tranquil here. Let's take another look at Hurricane Irene. It's a massive hurricane, really covers a huge area. There's the eye of the hurricane now moving away from the Bahama Islands. In Nassau, we have a live neighborhood network location. Winds have really died down now. The hurricane's moving away. They did report a wind gust, though, of 101 miles per hour this morning when the eye of the hurricane was close. Here's Futurecast, my forecast computer model. We'll see what it thinks it'll do. And it does have a tracking over the warm Gulf Stream waters of the Atlantic Ocean over the next 24 hours, maintaining Category 3 strength. Could go Category 4 for a time. Here we are Friday at 6 p.m. After that, it starts to get closer to the mid-Atlantic coast, and Saturday at 6 p.m. it could very well be offshore the outer banks of North Carolina. Strong hurricane force winds moving inland, causing a storm surge. Massive coastal flooding is likely from North Carolina going northward, but there will also be widespread flooding farther inland from the torrential rains. And to top it all off, the winds will cause a lot of trees to go down. Massive power outages are likely to occur as it treks northward towards Baltimore, Philadelphia, and eventually New York City. Around here, though, opposite. High pressure and control. It'll stay that way tonight and through the day tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, just a great day to finish off the work week. We do have a weak cool front that moves across the area tomorrow night. I think it will not generate precipitation. It's pretty weak and no moisture to work with. Then on Saturday, high pressure follows in again, and that's going to give us a pleasant stretch of weather through the weekend and into next week, too. Futurecast shows temperatures tomorrow morning starting off in the 50s, and from there we go up into the lower 80s under sunny skies. Tomorrow night we drop back into the upper 50s, so a pleasant weather pattern. High temperatures on Saturday in the upper 70s with nothing but clear blue skies. Here's your 7-day temperature trend. We'll see a bit of a cooling trend to mild levels, highs in the 70s early next week, but we'll have that mercury climb again later on next week. Forecast tonight, clear skies, a very comfortable night, low of 56. Tomorrow, sunny skies, another great day. Enjoy it, high at 81. And for the weekend, beautiful, sunny skies, pleasant, high temperature of 80. 7-day forecast keeps it going Sunday with sunny skies, a high of 76, so nice and mild. Monday, partly sunny and 75. Then we'll warm things up with mostly sunny skies, getting back into the 80s by the middle of the week. Overnight lows will be in the 50s to lower 60s. So again, a great weekend and one to look forward to and enjoy.
Leave the windows open tonight, I guess.
You can.
All right. Thanks, Bob. New at 10, Tying the Knot in America, the section of the U.S. where the most couples stay together and the region where the divorce rate is the highest.
But first, here are the results of today's web poll. Thank you to everybody who took the time to vote.
Now, Sports Director Jake Zimmerman.
The Badger football team has the day off today. We're just 7 days before the season opener against UNLV next Thursday night. Now, one of the big questions on defense for the Badgers is how to replace J.J. Watt on the defensive line. It looks like they'll go for strength in numbers this year. All 8 guys listed on the depth chart at D-tackle and D-end will likely see the field. And that includes junior Brendan Kelly, who's listed as a backup defensive end. He's played just 11 games in 2 years because of various injuries, but co-defensive coordinator Chris Ash says Kelly can be a big factor if he can stay healthy.
He did a great job for us in the spring. He just plays at a different speed, brings a different type of energy level to the game out here, and he's fun to watch.
Kelly appears to be close to 100% now after battling a toe injury earlier in camp. The Packers play the Colts tomorrow night in Indianapolis. The Colts have lost 8 straight exhibition games and 24 of their last 28. In fact, last year, the Packers beat the Colts 59-24 in August. Peyton Manning played in that game. Tomorrow night, though, he won't. Aaron Rodgers, though, will, maybe for as much as a half, and he's as anxious as anybody to find a reliable third down back to replace Brandon Jackson. He liked what he saw from Alex Green against the Cardinals, but he was watching from the sidelines when Green executed a perfect screen pass. He hopes to get a closer look tomorrow at Green and dark horse candidate Dimitri Nance.
I would like to see some of the, maybe a few reps with Alex in the third down and Dimitri. I think Dimitri Nance has had an incredible camp. Be interesting to see what happens. But I'd like maybe a couple reps with those guys in the third down to see maybe who's going to emerge as that third down back.
Again, the Packers and Colts kick off tomorrow night at 7 in Indianapolis. The Brewers have the night off. They start a 3-game weekend series with the Cubs at Miller Park tomorrow night. The Cardinals are beating the Pirates right now by 1 run in the 9th inning. If that lasts, the Brewers lead in the NL Central will stay at 10 games, and their magic number to clinch the division would stay at 22. The Yankees do something today no other team in Major League Baseball history had ever done. Hit 3 grand slams in 1 game. Robinson Cano, Russell Martin, and Curtis Granderson all hit grannies. But get this, some Yankees fans actually went home after an hour-and-a-half rain delay with the Yanks down 7-1. So they missed out on seeing history as the Yanks won 22-9 over the A's. And one golf note, Steve Stricker and Jerry Kelly both 2 under after 1 round of the Barclays. 3 players are tied at 7 under for the lead. That's sports. We'll be back right after this.